Hey guys, it's Kim, and I'm going to do another inspirational story. So many of you like the other story I did the other day, so I'm going to do another one. This one's called Musical Moment, and this actually is a true story. That's something that happened in one of the nursing homes that I worked in. I was a director of therapeutic recreation for many nursing homes for over a decade. It was what I did. It was my career prior to doing crystal work and energy work. So I was at one nursing home, and I had the pleasure of working with a fantastic music therapist, and his name was Charles. And he worked with the residents that lived in the nursing home, and he did small groups and one-on-one type of music therapy with them. He was really phenomenal. But there was one particular resident that Charles worked with several times a week. At least 3 times a week he would go into his room and work with this one resident. His name was Joe. We'll call him Joe. Now, Joe was non-responsive. He was in a semi-coma state. He wasn't in a full coma, but he was very unresponsive to external stimuli, on feeding tubes, had very little quality of life. And so Charles would go in and offer music therapy several times a week, and he played his guitar and he did other kinds of music, all the kind of music that Joe would like. Now, Joe was a young guy. He was about 40 at the time, so it's really sad when you see a young person in a nursing home like that, especially one that is in a condition, in a state where there's really little or no quality of life, or there's no interaction whatsoever. I mean, Joe didn't smile, he didn't blink. There was really nothing to show us that he was even hearing what was going on. So there was very little hope, I guess, for Joe at this point. But Charles didn't care. Charles kept going in and he kept doing his thing. And then Charles came into my office one day to tell me that Joe was having some kind of movement, like with his eyes. There was movement in his arm or his hand or something along those lines. And so I told him just to kind of keep track of that and get back to me. So what happened again, he came back in, he goes, no, he goes, Joe is having some kind of movement in his eyes and stuff. So we went to the nursing department and we shared this with them as well as the therapy department. And they said, no, that doesn't, that's not happening, that's not possible. I mean, it's just an involuntary movement kind of thing. It's not something that Joe is initiating himself. So we were kind of like, okay. And so I told Charles, don't give up. Keep trying. Believe in what you believe in and keep doing what you're doing. And so he did, and he continued to visit with Joe 2 to 3 times a week doing the music therapy sessions. Until one day, it was a Friday afternoon, and Charles finished up with his session with Joe. And he said to Joe, have a nice weekend, I'll see you next week. And just as Charles, the music therapist, was leaving the room, he turned around and he saw Joe laying in bed, unresponsive, or in a coma. Joe, who can't possibly have any kind of, voluntary movement. Joe goes like this. And he gives Charles a thumbs up. So we immediately went to nursing and rehab and said, look, Joe gave a thumbs up. He had some response to the music. And so, that weekend, all the therapy, they were occupational speech therapists and physical therapists. And, every specialist was in there, working with Joe. And, it took a long time. It wasn't like, the following week he was up and around. I don't know if he ever gained the ability to walk, but he did gain the ability to open his eyes and speak and eat. And he eventually went home to live with his girlfriend. And so, the moral of the story, the reason I'm telling you the story is you never give up on something that you believe in with all your heart. I mean, those nurses, they thought we were nuts. There's no way that there could be voluntary movement. But we didn't give up, especially Charles. Charles didn't give up. And that gives me chills to this day when I tell this story. So I just wanted to let you know, don't give up. Whatever you believe in, go for it with all your heart, because you really just never know where it's going to take you. So believe in yourself. Trust yourself and do what you're going to do. And don't listen to the naysayers that say you can't do it. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, have a blessed day. Bye.